mean, there are some of these dudes that I've worked with from the very beginning in the pipeline that I'm still one of my best, some of, not one of, but some of my best friends that maybe I don't hear from them for a while, or maybe we talk several times a week, but but they would drop anything in a drop of a hat to come help me out or be there for me, and I would do the same for them. And it's again tough to articulate that, and it's almost tough to conceptualize that if you've never experienced it. And it's not tangible, it's not and obviously I struggle to even say what it is, but there is this special thing that we have. And I think there's actually a saying, and I believe it's called this quote, this thing of ours, end quote. And there's actually a statue of it in DC. I think it's a Vietnam memorial, but it's pretty incredible, pretty powerful. And and I think that really encapsulates it pretty well, as this thing of ours. Like, we cherish it, we honor it, and it's something special. And which is why that, because I'm an idiot, I struggle to articulate it, but I promise you exists. And if you're already in the pipeline, or you're already on team, you know exactly, or maybe even retired, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's something special. Speaking of something special, Air Force Wounded Warrior program. So the here at Nellis right now, the Air Force Wounded Warrior program is going on, the games, and that is humbling to a degree that you will not believe. Um, the director asked me to come out, which was fantastic. I've known him for many years, and he asked me to come out and get involved a bit, which again was humbling, seeing folks that you know were missing legs, missing arms, had traumatic brain injuries to a level that I definitely don't have. I mean, I have them, but not like they have them. And sitting down and chatting with these folks is something special, and they are doing incredible things. And I know, I mean, some of these folks are entrepreneurs, they're business owners, they're people in that are just now, like, some of them are still in and getting out, or having, they're going through a medical board and having to leave the service, even though they don't want to. It's just that they aren't worldwide deployable. So, they've got to exit the military. But it's, if you ever get a chance to attend one of those events, or donate time or donate money or anything like that, it is something special. It really is. And there's lots of them too. It's not just the Air Force Wounded Warrior. There's uh, I know SOCOM, or Special Operations Command, has a Wounded Warrior program, or Care Coalition as well. But I mean, we had Air Force, Marines, we had folks from other nations out here competing. And I think this week is a qualifier for the big, like, Invictus games and that kind of stuff. So again, it's incredible. So let's see what else we got. Preparing for a deployment. Like I said, it's in no particular order here. Preparing for a deployment. There's a lot to that, and what I don't want to hit is, I don't want to hit all the training that's involved, because it's an unreal amount of training that you need to go through in order to be prepared for a deployment. But it's more of the kind of things that you don't think about, the things that you don't realize. There's a lot good that goes into it, and it kind of starts months beforehand. So I'm talking, it simple things like making sure your will, and your last will, or your will and testament, or whatever, is updated and accurate. You'd be shocked at how many people, either one, don't have a will, or two, their will is so old that they have now, they had that will when they were single, now they're married, and they don't have any of their family in that will. And you're kind of setting your family up for success, or for failure, if you don't have that updated. But making sure your will's updated, making sure you got any powers of attorneys done, making sure that username and passwords are passed off to, username and passwords, like in the way of, hey, the energy company, the gas company, any kind of bills are on auto pay, and somebody has access to those accounts. so that in case anything goes wrong. Uh, it's a lot of things like that you've got to prep for. You know, if you have a family, you're also trying to spend as much time as you possibly can with your family. You know, and you're getting pulled in a bunch of different ways, because not only do you have to do that, not only do you have to make sure that all the little creepy stuff is taken care of. You know, what are you going to do with your vehicle? You know, are you leaving the keys at the unit so that the guys can go out and drive it around and make sure that the battery's not dead? Or are you leaving it at the house? And what happens when the car battery dies? Who are you calling? You know, it's all those little things of setting that kind of stuff up. Um, and it is, those kind of things are easier when you have a family or when you have a spouse, because they can kind of help and do that kind of stuff. It's a little bit more difficult for those kind of things when you're single, but your team is there to support you and help you out. And if you need to, you leave your vehicle, your keys. Anyway, like I said, you're getting pulled in a whole bunch of different directions, you know, taking care of all that stuff, making sure your bags are packed, making sure you're trained appropriately. Um, but then, you know, the unit needs you in there too, because there's still, you know, evaluation reports that need to be done, or there's still, you know, pack out, getting everybody's kit there needs to be packed out. There are computer-based training that unfortunately the Air Force and the military says you got to do it. You've got to be trained in X, Y, and Z. So those are things that you're going to have to do. Again, it's very tedious, it's very time consuming, and it's very frustrating, but it's everything that right now needs to occur in order for you to get out the door. And the first one or two times you do it, it's, you know, it's a big deal. But once you start getting into a rhythm, and whether it's you're sitting alert, so you're prepped to deploy, even though you may not bust out, you know, blow out the door, it just gets easier. So it's no big deal there. And the families, if you have a family, they end up getting used to it. It is a struggle sometimes with the kids, depending on, you know, how young they are. I don't know why I'm using a size thing there, but depending on how young they are. But I mean, they do get used to it, and you end up getting used to it. It's never fun to leave them, and it's never fun to, uh, you know, listen to them cry or anything like that, or plead for you not to go. But it does happen, and believe me, it actually makes them quite a bit more resilient, believe it or not. So let's see what else we got here. Man, accountability with leadership, or accountability of leadership. Boy, this really is a random list I put together. So accountability leadership. I don't know that I'm going to hit on this too much, other than I kind of talked about a little while ago when I talked about the, you know, message to parents, and us taking care of your family or your loved ones, stuff like that. But